All right, the
Okay.
broadcast is live.
Let's see.
Woo-hoo!
Let's find it here. StreamYards takes a second to catch up to the group. Okay, we are live in the group here. And there's about a 30-second delay. I actually like StreamYard more than Zoom for lives. It's a lot more consistent, I've found.
It's super easy to use as well.
Yes,
All right,
it
our
is very
first person
easy.
live. Oh, wait, that's probably me because I just opened it up.
Let's see. Okay, people are joining now. Welcome to day one. We'll give people a few minutes to get in here before we actually get started. Let's see. Let's hope StreamYards does not crash.
I've never had a crash on me. Now, I haven't used it very often.
I have had, welcome, James. Welcome from Singapore. Welcome,
James,
Marianne.
yeah, I like you, James.
Singapore, nice. I've never been to Singapore.
I never realized how small Singapore was until I talked to someone from there. The person I know there is a pilot, and they don't do domestic flights. So, like, during all this shutdown, he hasn't been flying because, you know, if you wouldn't even be able to get off the ground before you had to come back down. Singapore is so small.
Interesting.
Yep, I never knew that. Welcome, 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 Cindy.
All right, people are coming in. Good morning. Wonder what time it is over there. Jake, what time is it for you?
11.
11. Okay. 9 a.m. here.
I'm 9 a.m.
Where are you located, Barton?
Utah.
Utah. Okay, you're north of me. I'm in Colorado.
Oh, you are?
Let's see here. Welcome, Beth. 11 p.m. Yeah, Singapore's 12 hours ahead of us.
Interesting.
Yep. It's always real weird. Every once in a while, I'll hop on a call with someone over there, and it's like, it'll be like 11 o'clock at night, and it's like, I'm about to, wind down for the day, and they're just getting their day started. Welcome, Alice. Welcome, Angie. Welcome, Mohammed.
James, Akash, Bangladesh, Joy, hello. Good morning, Jacqueline. 8 a.m. where Beth is, and early morning over there. It's not too early. That's not too early.
Yeah, we could have done it earlier. We could have done like 8 a.m. Eastern.
I wouldn't have been here.
Make Neil and Barton wake up at 6 a.m. to do this.
Beth, where are you from?
Karen?
What?
Where's Beth from?
That's not. Alex is in Moscow.
Where's Neil from?
No, Beth.
Oh,
8
Beth?
a.m. Beth.
Somewhere
Egypt?
West Coast.
Good
West
morning
Coast
from
somewhere.
Florida.
Egypt? I always like when we do day one, people will say where they're at, and it's like, we really have people from all over the world on. Good morning from Florida. San Diego is where she's from. Teresa, Middle Georgia. Yeah, Georgia is. We stopped when we were in Florida last month. We had to drive because Sarah wasn't allowed to be on planes at the time, and because of her job. And we stopped in Georgia for gas, and you got out, and you were instantly sweating.
It's been hot lately, man. It's been real hot. I do not like the humidity. That's why I'm in Colorado. No humidity here.
I'm in Utah.
It's only like 60% humidity here.
Finland. That's a new one. Nice. Dallas. Dude, I bet it's hot in Texas this week. Florida.
Honduras.
Utah, Honduras. All right. Everyone's joining. Good to see you all. Good morning. Jersey Shore.
Let's see here. All righty. We will go ahead and get started here. I want to make sure that this is recorded, but I have no idea how to do that on. All right.
Pretty sure it auto records
I think so.
StreamYard.
Alrighty, so today, day one, welcome everyone. We are going just to kind of be introducing KDP to you, how it works, some things to do, some things not to do, some things to watch out for, how paying gets worked, all of those things. Just today's a very introductory day. So I know there's a lot of people in here that have been doing KDP for a while. I know there's a lot of people that are just now getting started, or this is their first time even really hearing about KDP. They said, hey, look, they're doing a 14-day live series. We might as well go listen to them, try to learn a thing or two. So each day is going to build on another. So what we teach today will build on tomorrow, which will build on Wednesday. And for the next 14 days, starting today, we will be live every day, going over new topics, new strategies, new discussions, answering questions. We have one scheduled Q&A day. I'm not going to spoil what the other days are. I'm going to make you show up each and every day, or make sure you watch the replays. But the last day, the day 14, is going to be an open-ended Q&A where you can ask, any questions we didn't answer. Barton, he's going to try to be managing all the questions, making sure that we get them answered. If we don't get them answered during a call, we will, either come back to them, we'll post, and if we can't come back to them, we'll post a blog article answering a whole bunch of them. So you have just one nice place to go to get your questions answered. So, Neil, what is KDP?
KDP is pretty much print-on-demand books. Okay, so publishing in the past used to be, probably still is, pretty difficult. You have to find a publisher. You have to write long-form books. You have to pretty much give up the majority of your royalty in order for your publisher to print and sell and market and all of that good stuff.
Let me stop you right there real quick. I know a guy who has an amazing book on Amazon. It's a full book. He has sold well over 100,000 copies and has made less than $30,000 from that book because of his publisher.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, traditional publishing, all right, works really, really well if you're an established author and everyone knows you, J.K. Rowling, all right, like Stephen King. They're not going to self-publish on Amazon. Well, maybe they are, but they have built-in audiences all around the world. What KDP is, Kindle Direct Publishing, allows anyone, me, you, anyone in this chat to go publish a book that is pretty much going to be instantly available to literally billions of people around the globe. Because when you publish something on KDP, not only do you not have to do any of the actual work, printing the book, you don't really have to market the book, but that's something we'll probably go over for sure. And it's going to be in multiple countries. It'll be in the US, it'll be in the UK, it'll be in Germany, it'll be in all the big locales around the world, which opens up your marketing or your reach, as you will, to literally billions of people around the world. And Amazon takes care of everything, and they're nice enough to pay us a royalty because they want to sell everything. So if they get a book that they can sell and make money on, and they will pay us for that opportunity. So that's KDP in a nutshell. But what we have pretty much done over the past few years, like we weren't first to it, right? But realized that people on Amazon are buying more than just long form books. When I say long form books, I'm talking about paragraphs, stories, fantasy books, science books, stuff with actual words on them. There are literally millions and millions and millions of people buying books to write in, books to entertain themselves when they're on the plane. Probably less on the plane now, more at home, but things that don't require long form content. So we'll probably focus a lot on that as well.
Yeah, it's crazy the worldwide market that we can reach. I have books that I'm like, man, this is gonna crush it in the U.S. Doesn't sell a single time in the U.S., but does really good in like Japan. Somewhere totally that I didn't even, I never even thought about necessarily. It just does really well there. And it's like, I wonder what this is about it that, so appealing to. It's usually, I don't usually see, if it sells, it'll be like US, UK, and a few other places, or it's going to be like one specific place only.
Keep in mind too, though, that part of the reason that I like KDP so much is they've been around. I don't know the exact date. I'm pretty sure it's 10 plus years. So they've gotten rid of most of the kinks that you're going to find in other kind of online platforms for publishing. Not, there's other platforms for publishing books, but there's also tons of print on demand platforms for clothing and other articles that haven't been around as long. And if you guys are familiar with merch by Amazon, you've probably banged your head against more than one wall. All of those kinks are pretty much gone with KDP. There's an actual team that knows what they're doing. There's a team that's much larger. They're willing to give you calls back if you have issues. Sometimes when you write in, you'll actually get real human responses if it's like a complicated issue. You can actually ask them for price matching. You can ask them to move categories. Like, they're very open to working with the community, and there's very few issues that I found since I've been involved in it. So
not just that, they were also CreateSpace before KDP. If you've been doing this for CreateSpace closed, what, 2 years ago now?
2 years. 2 years,
Yep.
yeah. I mean, KDP existed, right?
Yes.
KDP was for, physical, or was it just ebooks?
Nope, it had everything. I know a lot of people will use KDP for AMS ad side of things, but
because I use CreateSpace and I had a bunch of books published over there. And they sent out an email that essentially was like, "Hey, we're merging," because CreateSpace was an Amazon company, but they wanted to streamline everything, so they kind of like brought them together so you could do ebooks. Kindle direct publishing started with ebooks, I think, for the Kindle. But now they do paperbacks and everything.
So they've had CreateSpace launched in something like 2000. So when 2000 hit, since then they've had times to work out the kinks. I know people get upset, like, why is Merch by Amazon doing this, or why are shipping times slow, or this, that, and the other. And it's like they're still in the infant stages of business. They haven't had these years and years and years to build out their teams and workflows and everything.
And production, right? Like that's a big one. KDP's got production all around the world. It's 12, 13 something locales. There's huge. There's a lot.
So, it's...
We have Lori on here, and she's just said, I can confirm that traditional authors do not make money.
Yep. Unless you're a massive author. You make very, very little. I mean, like that author I know, he has sold a ton of books. I mean, his book has been under like 2,000, 3,000 BSR since it launched a year and a half ago on Amazon and has made under 30,000 from it. He just got his second royalty check from that book, and it was like nothing basically. So, that's the good thing. We're not out here writing, full-blown Harry Potter books, which that will bring us into our next section here of kind of some do's and don'ts with your author names. I see a lot of people getting kickbacks lately, rejections when they upload a book, saying like your author name, contributors are misleading to the customers. And, it's kind of a gray area at times because it's like, okay, well, I've been using this author name for, 6 months now, and all of a sudden they're saying it's confusing or misleading to a customer. So sometimes you do have to email in, but you don't want to try to pull a fast one and use something like J.K. Rowling's. Okay, you are going to get the hammer very, very quickly if you try to piggyback off another author.
Jacob, real quick, in the chat, you guys, who here does not have a KDP account yet? Because I don't want to jump the gun if there's a bunch of people that actually don't have accounts. I know there's a small
I can say that I did some keto books, and the author name I started using suggested that I was more like a doctor, and that immediately got shut down. And I realized I need more traditional names than trying to be the professional of that category.
The health books can be, especially if you have some content in your health books, they can be very hard. I would not write a content-based health book because it would probably be unreadable and would probably be the opposite advice that a doctor would give you. So yeah, you have to be very careful. I guess everyone must have a KDP account. Alex, one book uploaded. Okay, by end of this challenge, let's hope you have some more uploaded. But it looks like most people do have a KDP account. So when you're creating your author names, okay, you don't want to try and hijack someone else's. You don't, if it's J.K. Rowling, you don't want to do J.L. Rowling. Okay. You don't want to try to piggyback off someone. They will catch that. You will get, takedowns or termination letters. And that's, there's gray areas that you do not want to go to. Let's see here. So that goes with your keywords. I never target brands, companies, authors as well in my keywords, author or contributors. It is not worth it. Okay. If someone is looking up a Harry Potter book and you're trying to target, Harry Potter fans, well, why would you use Harry Potter in your book? If they're looking up a Harry Potter book, odds are they probably want the Harry Potter books. So just don't do that. Try to avoid that. I know.
One of the things I've noticed too is that there's some authors that aren't publishing recent works. Maybe they published something in like the 1950s, the 1960s. There's a book on Amazon. What some people will try to do is they will try to piggyback that author with their low content book or whatever they're trying to sell. And that'll work for like a week or two. But again, KDP has been around for a while. Once they find that out, they're going to terminate you for that. Like, I've seen it more than once. So when it comes to an author name, don't piggyback other people. But I think the big thing we should talk about is don't keyword stuff your author name. So I used to do that. Okay, I used to do that.
CreateSpace loved it.
They loved it. It was acceptable. They allowed you to do it. That is no longer the case. People are getting emails from KDP saying, "Hey, do not put, just a keyword. So if you're doing keto books, don't put, keto books for adults." Or, keto books for weight loss as your author name. That's not an author name. An author name is like, I don't know, off the top of my head,
Neil's Publishing.
Exactly. Like, I don't use my personal name, but I come up with something that sounds like a company, that sounds like a publisher, not a keyword stuffed brand name. Because you are going to get in trouble for that with KDP. It sucks. Okay, but hey, we're playing in their sandbox. It's just something that you should not do.
Let's see here. Teresa, I've heard that it's not good to have too many books under one author name because KDP won't show all your listing. How many books maximum should you have under one author name? I won't do more than 50 in one niche under an author name. Okay, it's not like you can only have 1,000 books total. No, I try to spread like niches out across author names, because you're right. If you have like this, for example, if you have the same title, subtitle, and author name, they will clump those into one listing, and then your visibility.
And on the same token though, it's how similar are the books, right? I mean, if you have a log tracker for diabetes, and you have another log tracker, and all that's changed is like one interior page is lined instead of like boxes, well, that's not similar. You have the same title, you have the same brand name, you have the same bullets. KDP is going to have an issue with that. But if you have the same brand name in two totally different books that are related to, the health niche, then you're not going to have an issue with visibility. So it's really going to come down to, making sure that your stuff is unique and you're not putting up a bunch of books that pretty much look similar to each other. Because if they look similar to each other, it's going to be a bad customer experience. Because you might buy one and go, oh my gosh, I love this book. Let's see what else the author has. And they buy another one and they get pretty much the same product. And now the customer's upset. They're like, well, what the hell? I wanted something different. That's why I came back. And they got one of the same, but with a different, one slight variation. That's why KDP does that.
Yep.
But I think we've identified that if you'll do, back to what Jacob was saying, if you do 50 books under the name of Mickey Mouse, and then you do, let me start that over. If you're in the health category, doing 50 books as Mickey Mouse, and then you do in the fitness category 50 books as Mickey Mouse, well, those are two different categories, and that would be more acceptable. But if you do 100 books in the health category, the exact same niche or category, then you're probably only going to get 50 seen. The other 50 will drop off.
Yep. And no Mickey Mouse. That was just an example.
Yeah, that was a bad example
of a name.
I've done that so many times where it's like, okay, this is a great example. Then I start saying it, it's like, oh, I shouldn't have said that. But no, it's same thing with like coloring books, activity books, puzzle books, all of those different things. I have an author name for those, but I'm also not cranking out 20 books in the same niche for any of those because they take some time. And how many different ways can you do, a baseball coloring book? There's only your baseball activity book. There's only so many different ways. So,
and you also don't want your coloring book of unicorns for 4-year-olds in the same brand name as your super hardcore swearing, dirty books for adults. That would make literally no sense, and it would make a lot of parents very angry. So you have to think about these things.
Yes. Yes. So let's see here. How does getting paid work? Okay. So this is a lot of, people ask all the time, it shows I have this much in royalties, but I haven't gotten paid yet. It's been a month. I come from merch. They pay us monthly. Or it shows I have this many sales or this book ranked, but It's not showing that I get those royalties this month. What is going on? So it is for
Jacob,
what?
Before we address that, before we jump off the names, someone has asked, how many author names are you allowed? The answer is you can have as many as you want.
Yeah,
there is no limits.
Yeah, there is, there are no limits technically to how many author names you can have. So how getting paid works, okay, is going to be 60 days. It's a 60-day delay. So what you sell in June or what you sell in July, you'll get paid for at the end of August. What you sell you'll get paid for at the end of September. What you sell in August, you'll get paid for at the end of October. So like come Q4, when you sell all of these books in December, you'll get paid for it at the end of January for what shipped. Now, you might notice a book like has a BSR. And you aren't seeing a sale on your dashboard yet. That is because the book has not been shipped. They do not register a sale until it's actually printed, shipped out. Otherwise, our sales charts would probably be 1,000 times higher, and then people would cancel, and it'd be like, oh, it showed I had 3,000 sales today, but really only 4 people ordered because everyone else canceled. Or, I've seen things on like merch, for example, where they buy 100 shirts and they meant to buy 10 shirts. And 90 of them get canceled. I've had that happen on Etsy also a long, long time ago, where they meant to buy like 10 of one shirt for, it might have been like a charity or, some type of event, a work party, something. And they go to buy 10 shirts and they accidentally do more than that. And, it's issues that can happen. I've bought way too many things at a time before. It happens sometimes. So that is how being paid works. Donald says, so if you have 100 books and say cookbooks with the same author name, they're going to hide some of them.
No, so think about it like this, right? Like if you have 100 books and those 100 books are cookbooks and every single book has the same recipe, the same recipes, right? Like 100 pages, the same recipes, maybe you switch them around. Like, yeah, some of those are going to get hidden. They're the same book. If you have 100 cookbooks and they're all different recipes with different covers and different titles and different words,
niches,
exactly, none of those are going to get hidden. So I think people if you're making unique stuff and you're not putting up the same book over and over again, don't worry about Amazon hiding any of your stuff. It's not going to happen.
Now, if you put up 100 cookbooks that are all about backyard barbecue, okay, or griddling, or microwave meals, 100 cookbooks about microwave meals.
Is that a thing?
I don't know.
There's no way. I have to look now.
It might be. There's a lot of things you can do in the microwave, but if you're doing 100 books around that, then you might run into some problems, especially if your title, subtitle, author name's the same. They're going to clump those into one listing. You don't see it as much anymore because people have learned not to do that. I wish I could pull up an example for you of what happens, because that will suppress your sales. That will suppress your listings. They all get clumped into one. There'll be like an orange bar going across, and it'll say like other options, or I haven't seen it in a little while, but it's an orange little bar that goes across like right under the title. You can click it, and then there'll be a drop-down menu with a bunch of different books in it. Well, I get paid every month. Yes, so you will get paid every month. But if you're just starting out, let's say you make 10 sales in July, you will get paid for those 10 sales at the end of September. Everything you sell in August, you'll get paid for at the end of October. So just at the beginning, there's a delay on payments. And then after that, as long as you're selling something, you'll get a check every single month, or a deposit. Welcome, Ben.
I'd like to point out, I'm seeing a lot of people that only have a few books up and then recognizing that they're not getting sales. If you don't upload books, the amount of money that you can make off a book is really pretty small. But if you have a lot of books up, then your income can actually expand. So if you're relying on 5 books, 10 books, 25 books, I can only say that the name of this is a 14-day challenge, because we're challenging you to expand how many books you have on the program. So if you want to make some money, you're not going to do it with 25 books. You're not going to do it with 100 books. You really need more up there.
Yep. The more you also have to test. You might go into a niche that sells $1,000 worth a month for you, but then there's going to be other areas where you are like, hey, this looks like a good place. I'm going to enter it. You enter the niche, and guess what? it never sells. And you're going to be like, well, screw this KDP thing. It doesn't work. I'm not doing it. I don't want to do it anymore. I've put up 7 books. None of them have sold. I just can't do this. And it's like, I put up books that never sell. I still put up books that don't sell. It happens. Every book will not sell.
I mean, we'll go into this, in another video, but you also have to realize that if you put up a book where there's 100,000 other sellers and you're just going to sit back and do nothing, then yeah, you're probably not going to sell. Or if you put up a book and there's 3 sellers, and you sit back and do nothing, yeah, now you have a pretty good chance. But it's all dependent on, what you put up, how you put it up, and how you promote it. Do you promote it? Do you sit back? Do you rely on keywords? Do you rely on AMS? There's just so many different variables, which we will be going through all of that. But it's not only a quality game, but it's also a quantity game. So you want both, and I know that sounds near impossible. It's not, but you do want both. Both is very, very important.
Yep, Steve hit it right on the head. Test the waters, multiple niches, 25 books per niche. What sells, go deep. Exactly. I mean, I will do a 60, 90-day review of my account of, whatever I uploaded this month in 30, 60, 90 days. I'll go back through and I'll look at it. And if it did well, okay, I'll look at the ones that did sell versus what did not sell, kind of take a look at those, compare, what's different with the keywords, what's different with the subtitles, what's different with the covers, what's different with the interiors. And at that point, I can say, okay, I have a pretty good idea what else I need to add, because especially if you start doing really well in a niche, other people will notice that at some point, and they're going to try and come and take your mojo. I promise.
Also, keep in mind, if you publish a book today, tomorrow, the day after tomorrow, we were talking about this just before we got on a live, you need to give it a few weeks. A few weeks. You don't expect sales tomorrow. Amazon's indexing, I don't know what is up with it, having some issues, right? So you have to give Amazon enough time to index your book for the keywords. So yes, your book might be live in the next 5 hours, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be ranking for any keyword, and it's not going to show up when a customer in the other part of the world is typing that out. You have to give time for Amazon to index that across all of their servers. All right, that's a vast space. It takes a lot of time. It's frustrating. I know, been there, done that. But give it a few weeks before you say, wow, this was a failure, or wow, maybe I should start running ads, or maybe I should do this, or maybe I should change this. Give it a little while in order to see the results first. And then once you've given it, 2-3 weeks, you can go back in and tweak anything you want. It's not like what you do now is set in stone. It's something that you can change in the future.
Also, take into consideration, they don't put the look inside on there the moment it goes live. Okay, it can take up to, I think they say it can take up to 7 days. I still have some super old books that have never gotten it. So that can take some time. If you notice, this book's been up for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and it still does not have a look inside, email them with your ASIN and they will get it put on there. They can kind of push it forward. I have noticed a lot of newer books are getting it almost instantly at this point, but there's still times where it's man, this book's been up for 11 days, no look inside. That is just something. It's not boom, it's live, boom, it has look inside. Again, it has to process that. Depending on how many uploads they have, how's Amazon servers working, all of that good stuff. It can, there can be variations on how quickly you get a look inside.
Hey, Jacob and Neil, a lot of them are bouncing back to this author name. So let me just ask you to address something here. They're wondering, so we have, for example, Beth, who has been using her name for every book that she's uploaded. She's wanting to know, can she go in and change that now that she's made that mistake?
Where is this at? Hang on, I got to scroll through here.
Yeah, I see it. Yeah, I mean, yes, you can go change your books. And I believe you can change your author names. I haven't done that in forever.
I rarely go back in and change anything. Very rarely.
They don't particularly like you to change much. So I can't tell you if you change an author name. I've not tried that. But to answer the bigger question, I would recommend discontinuing using your own name, especially if you're doing them all in the same category niche, and start using something different.
Let's see here. What are you doing about your books published with keywords that now get flagged? Do you stop updating and only run ads to them, right back and forth until they finally update it, republish, which can be an issue since it's the same book with a new author? So usually they get flagged during the upload process. So then you just make changes and then submit it again, and then it will go live.
I've also seen where they send emails and they basically kick your book back and ask you to make changes too. And if you're unsure of what they're asking, reply and ask them, and they will tell you exactly what you need to change, and then you just hit publish again. So.
Yes. Is there a limit on how many books you can put up? No. I know a seller that has about 40,000 books up. I know there's people larger than him. I know there's people smaller than him, but no, there is no technical limit on how many you can put up. Now, if you're going to put up, say, oh, I'm going to put up 250,000 books by Christmas time because I can. Well, I can guarantee you are not putting up 250,000 quality books by Christmas time. Let's see here.
While you're reading that question, Jacob, let me point out that we're on thepageplan.com. We're actually re-uploading all of our interiors so that you have a product that you can change. Neil keeps referring to having unique interiors. If you purchase an interior and only use that interior as it is, then you do want to limit how many times you use it. But if you're changing up the interiors and you're using programs that allow you to make yours different, even though you're using the same interior that someone else has purchased, then you're going to be successful.
Let's see here. How do we need to refresh, change keywords on books, uploaded books if it stops selling without a valid reason? I will always, if I have like a book that's dominating and then all of a sudden it just falls flat on its face, I will go back and look. I will go back and say, you know, what's going on with this book? Is there more competition now? Is someone running AMS ads? There's a lot of different variables. So I will try to go back, and again, I will try to dissect, you know, what changed in this book. I'll look at newly updated books, other books that are ranking well, see if the other books have had a really good spike in sales and then mine dropped off because of it. And I'll try to go about it that way. And then how many uploads should we start with a day?
Don't focus on uploads per day. Like, focus on creating stuff people want to buy. Like, that's what you have to focus on. If you're not creating something that people want to buy, it doesn't matter if you upload 1 or 1,000 over the next, you know, month, 2 months, 3 months. If you create one book, and if everyone wants to buy it, you're going to blow the guy with 40,000 books out of the water. Yeah. So it just all depends on focusing on the customer. Like, as much as I hate how Amazon is like, they don't care as much about sellers, they just care about the customer. They're right? Like, that's how they make money, is by focusing on the customer. And as sellers, we have to do that too. We have to focus on what do they want and provide them a product. That's why, like, we'll get into it. But when you're looking on Amazon to see, like, okay, in this niche, people are already buying this. Okay, they're buying it. Well, what can we do to provide a better product, right? Like car companies, they're always like, how can we provide a better car so that people want to drive our product? Same thing with books. Create quality stuff. So don't focus on upload limits at all.
Yeah, so, and it's also different. As you grow, you might hire a designer. You might hire a small team around. Like Barton and I, we have designers for us. So what we could produce today, we only have to research. And then we pass our ideas off to our designers. So then when that happens, we can do other things. We can already have keywords done. So we could produce more with a team than you can solo. And that comes over time. And also, you can't change author name. You can't change title, and you can't change subtitle. And then Debbie, this falls into the next thing. Debbie, can you change the cover on a book? She says activity book here that isn't selling. Yes, you can go in, you can change the keywords, you can change your cover, your manuscript, your interior, and you can change all those things. So if you have a, you know, this interior is awesome, Debbie, you know, your interior is killer. It is great. And then you upload it and you start looking through covers and you're like, maybe my cover is not the best because it's not selling. I know my interior is great, but maybe my cover is not the best. You can go create a new one, upload it, republish it.
And that's the thing, too. I want to touch on this. Every single person here judges a book by its cover. All right? They just do. That's what people buy off of. They don't buy off of the description of your book. They buy off the cover. Like, as much as we don't want to admit it, everyone does. It's the huge covers where people like them. They're a little more intricate. They're big. They're bold. They stand out. Because if you think about, as an Amazon customer, when you're searching for something, you enter in a keyword, you click search, and then you scroll through the results like this. You don't
and you look at the picture.
You don't look, 1, and click, read, go back, 2, click, read. No, you don't do that. You're like, this one looks good. it looks good, right? And then you start going through. So cover is very, very, very important.
Yep. Imagine trying to shop, okay, and having your covers blanked out and only reading your title. You would probably make little sales if Amazon did not give you a mock-up image.
And also, before we do move on, we keep talking about quality stuff and what people want to buy. Go ask a friend, go ask someone you know, and say, does this look good? Right? If they're an actual friend, they're going to tell you either yes or, God, that's hideous. I don't ever want to see that again. Like, some people are like, I'm creating quality stuff. But then you take a look at it and you're like, ugh, yikes, like, not good. I've been there, right? Like, I'm not a designer. Everything I created 4 years ago was trash. Ask someone, they're like, hey, good try. Maybe you should do this. Or they can give you an opinion. So it's very important to make sure that you realize that you yourself are not necessarily the target audience. So ask for advice.
So here, are we going to go over research and then also how to determine what people want? That'll all be covered. This is just day one, kind of getting a lot of those beginner questions, a lot of those beginner statements, or just questions you've had forever, but you've never had a chance to ask them before. This is our chance here now. But yeah, every day it's a new topic, and we're going to keep running with this. Quality always wins. Buying interiors, how much and what kind of customization you could do. You could, something as simple as changing fonts, changing the colors a little bit. Now, you're not doing necessarily colored interiors, but going from a hard black lined and font and text to, maybe it's a lighter gray, so it's a little smoother on the page, or, there's a lot of different customization you can do, which we will be getting into on Interior Day. What do you do about copycats who steal your cover design and publish them under their name with the same interior? Report them.
It's something that we have had a lot of people that come and say, I'm doing merch and I don't want to get into a new program. Something that Neil just said, he has books that have been up for 5 years. That's the difference between KDP and merch, and that's a great reason to get into this instead of just merch, is once it's there forever.
Yeah, there's no, if you don't get a sale, it's going down or stuff like that. I mean, the thing is, at the end of the day, it's such an easy transition because it's the same print-on-demand space, right? So it's the same platform, Amazon. It's just a different login, all right? It's almost the exact same everything. It's just way more streamlined. And if you are doing merch, a lot of you probably already are, you already have two very important things to get started in this business. One, you have design assets, right? Like you're selling print-on-demand stuff somewhere, which needs designs. And two, if you've made any sales at all, you already have a starting point of what people are buying, right? If you're selling, beluga whale T-shirts, guess what people buy in books? Like they buy beluga whale coloring books. They buy, if they like whales, maybe they like notebooks. I mean, there's just maybe they're marine biologists. I don't know. You already know what people are buying as a starting point, and you already have design assets. So once you have those two things, like adding another revenue stream to your business, as long as you can click around and type a little bit, stupid easy. Like anyone can get some stuff up.
When you first log in, especially if you're brand new and you're like, okay, I'm going to go create my account today, which it's kdp.amazon.com. Okay, kdp.amazon.com. Go there, sign up. There's no waiting like Merch by Amazon. You type in your information, boom, you can publish a book. Okay, but when you first look at it, the upload process, it might be a little overwhelming. Okay, I'm going to share a video in the group. I know most people here have uploaded at least a book or looked at it, so I will post a link to a video in the group after this is over of the upload process, but it might look a little overwhelming. And if you're coming from Merch by Amazon, Merch by Amazon is basically just one page and it's up. KDP has a few pages and you might be looking at it very overwhelmed. It's basically the same thing, just in a different format.
Yeah, I mean, they could have put it all on one page. That would have been super nice.
I mean, I know CreateSpace had the expert mode. Is that what it was called?
Advanced? I don't remember what it was. It's been a while since I've uploaded there.
2 years. It was either expert mode, advanced, where it was streamlined, basically just one big long page, and that was nice. But You know, it might look a little overwhelming at first, but just start with something. You can go to, you know, you can go to the Page Planet. There's a free interior on there. You can go to Book Bolt. There's the free interiors on there. And you can grab a free interior. I think that's probably one of the hardest parts. You can take one of your Merch by Amazon designs, throw it on a cover, and upload it just as your first one. You know, every single merch design is not going to work. A lot of them probably won't. You know, if you have one that says, this is my Halloween shirt, well, don't put that on a book. Do not put that on a book.
I have made that mistake when I first started uploading my merch stuff over to KDP. You know, I'm just like, I need to upload. I was one of those, you know, quantity. I'm like, quantity, let's upload. Because like I'd been in KDP for a long time before the low content stuff occurred. And then I realized, wow, I can upload like all these low content books, but none of the stuff that I just mass threw up like did that well, right? And then I went through it and I'm like, okay, well, wait a minute. I got to learn these 7 keyword boxes. We'll go over that. But the majority of the stuff, as I looked at it, I'm like, well, no wonder they're not selling. It says T-shirt or hoodie or something in the design itself. No one's going to buy a book that says it's a Halloween T-shirt. Makes no sense.
So I would do that, okay? I would do that. Excuse me here. I would do that just so you can, if you've never uploaded a book, that's exactly what I would do, okay? It's just so you can at least see the process. Let's see here.
We have quite a few people asking about how we market. I can tell you that we have a day that we're going to address marketing. So we're not going to talk about that necessarily today, but do know that it's coming.
Yes. So I keep seeing a few people asking, how is this challenge going to work? If you've never been in a challenge before, let me explain. This is a 14-day. So today and then the next 13 days after this, we will be live every day. All 3 of us have a document up here. We have what we want to cover every day. Each day's basically a different topic, you know, from research and keywords to cover design and marketing and other things I don't want to spoil. We have our homework already kind of assigned for each day for everyone. So today, at the end of this call, we'll assign a little bit of homework. After that homework, you know, is assigned, we'll end the call. Tomorrow, 11 a.m. Eastern, we will be back live again. We'll go through a new topic, assign homework. Wednesday, we'll be live again on 11 a.m. We'll assign homework at the end of that call, and you can build on that every day. It's a challenge. You're supposed to push yourself. You're supposed to try to challenge yourself. I understand there's a lot of people that are going to watch replays, so if you're watching the replays, hello. And
you at the end of the day, like, don't just listen to us babble on and do nothing at the end. Like, it's about putting in the work to get some stuff on and learning the process. Like, you can listen to us till we're blue in the face, but if you never do anything at the very end, you're going to have nothing to show for it. So that's kind of like why we decided to do this for free and show up for 14 days so that you have 2 weeks to actually get some stuff done and have something to show for it.
There are plenty of sellers, and I expect there are some here live. There's 133 of you. I expect at least one of you has researched to death and never created. That's a pit that people will fall into, especially sellers that just want to be perfect. You can't get perfect until you start creating.
If something is perfect, you did something wrong.
And you don't need to be perfect to sell. All right, you should see some of the hideous stuff that I have for sale, and people buy it. Like, I mean, to give an example, I created a design 2-3 years ago, okay, that I use as like for a post in a Facebook group. I had it created because I thought it was hilarious and I thought it would get a rise out of people. Well, it turns out I decided to put that on a shirt, decided to put that on a book, and it sells every single day. And it's the stupidest thing ever, but just because I took the 5 minutes to throw it up on a couple products, I earned money from that every single month for years. So it doesn't need to be perfect. It doesn't even need to be good. Learning the process is the most important, and then you can build on that and make sure your stuff is better in the future.
Yep. It's I look at like some of the first low content books I put up and I just laugh. I cringe at them actually. And then I laugh at them because it's like, how did this ever sell? Or, every once in a while I'll go through my reports and kind of looking at the new niches, see what they're doing and everything. And then I'll notice like this book, I don't even remember the title of, sold, and I'll go look at it and it was uploaded 2 years ago, 3 years ago, whatever it might be, like when I first started in KDP. And it was like, holy crap, that is ugly. There has to be something better out there. Someone else they could have bought. Let's see.
Dan, you've asked, you're not able to watch every day. We are going to post these videos up live, or not live, but they will be recorded videos. We're definitely going to have them on thepageplan.com. It's in a course section. So anyone can go back and watch these.
As much as you want.
It's free.
Yep, you can watch them 1,000 times if you want. And then, Drew, will you please tell us everything in the first day? Love you, Drew. Thanks for showing up today. No, that would be a very long live, and I do not wish to be sitting at my computer until 3 a.m. talking tonight. Please save. I'm at work right now. Yes, so there will be a replay. Don't worry. There'll be replays. I'll make a post once the live is over here with homework. But is there anything else, Neil Barton, that you guys want to cover today?
I think that's pretty much it. I mean, step one, if you don't have an account, kdp.amazon.com, it literally just requires your name, your social security number, your tax ID, whatever ID the country you're using. You just fill out a small tax form with your information, like where do you live? And big thing, you need to enter in a bank account, okay? So make sure it's a real bank account so you can get paid. There's a lot of people that are like, well, I don't know if I trust Amazon. Blah. Like, if you want to get paid, put your real name in there and put your bank account. But please go sign up, because if you don't have a KDP account, it's going to be a waste of time for you to be here, like complete waste. So get a KDP account. That's probably number one.
Yep, create your KDP account. If you already have an account and you've never uploaded, upload a book. When I post the homework, and this is all your homework, by the way, when I make a post with your homework, though, and the replay link to watch this, there'll also be a link on there for a free interior. So make sure that you get an interior. I'll post a link to a cover template. And don't worry, we'll be going over all of this in depth, but I want to challenge you today. And try to upload a book today. Okay, that is your goal. Rose, is it necessary to use ads? What can you do if you have a low budget? These are all things are going to say on another day. We're going to talk about all of these on another day. We have a whole day to talk about advertising.
Steve says, and all three of you have KDP accounts, correct? Yes, I have a KDP account. Do you guys?
Steve, you said no trolling.
Steve, I love you.
Yes, Steve, you're awesome.
One thing I would like to point out is I'm actually the newer one into this game. I've only been doing KDP for a year. Jacob and Neil has been doing it for much, much longer. I retired from the Army in 2018, and I decided that I want to be a stay-at-home dad, and so I started doing this. What I can do is motivate you. And that's what the Army does for me. And I can tell you that you are worth it. You deserve it. Create the account and do it. You're the only one going to stop you.
Literally, we're going to give you as much advice as we can over the next 14 days. Okay, so you're going to have everything. You're going to have replays. You're going to have content. You're going to have interiors. There's going to be a lot of stuff thrown at you. And that's why the replays are available. I know there's been challenges in the past where after X amount of days, they disappear. We're not going to do that. We want you to learn. We want to, make sure you can do this, at your own pace. I don't want you to watch these videos 3,000 times before you upload a single book. You're just going to be spinning your wheels forever if that's the point. At that point, but we want to make sure that you actually take action, because that's the only way you're going to succeed. This can be a nice little push for you before Q4. I always say, I put a post up in a Facebook group probably like February, like now's the time to prepare for Q4. Well, you're running out of time now. Okay. I know you think, okay, holiday season, it's far away, but it's going to come quicker than you think. Actually, we were in Hobby Lobby. It's a craft store, whatever, the other day, and they already are putting up Christmas stuff in the store. Okay, they're already putting out, like, there's a whole aisle of Christmas ornaments already.
Well, it's because, like in retail, and that's essentially what we're doing here, right? We're selling retail, but online. The majority of all of their profits come in those 3 months. Like the vast majority come in that holiday shopping Q4 season, which is why you're going to hear me and everyone else talk about Q4. That's because that's like where most of the sales come from. So as long as you are, learning, getting stuff up, you can sell a lot of stuff even if it's not very good. So just work on learning the process, and then we'll be going through everything so you can get better at the process. And hopefully by the end of these 14 days, you have some sales, you've learned something, you can implement it in your business and keep growing from there.
So I think this is where we are going to wrap up today. We hit, over 10% of people were watching today, which is very good for a Monday, mid-morning, late morning, coming on to noon here now. So we had 135, 138 people max at one point, which is great to see. I hope that number continues every day, and we can see how many people watch the replay. So, if you come in on day 14 and say, hey, how do I do this, this, and this? And we've covered it before. We can tell if you've watched the replay or not. So remember, you can watch these back. This replay will probably be back up in about 20-30 minutes. If I had to guess, I'll post a link for everyone. So there'll be a link for homework. There'll be a link to an interior. There will be a link to replay. And those will all be up here shortly. So, Neil, Barton, anything else?
Yeah, let me just point out that some of you might be wondering, where's the sales pitch? There is no sales pitch. We are doing this to serve you. We can say that the PagePlanner.com has interiors you can choose to use. We can say that Neil has BookBolt.io that will be extremely helpful in your research that you can choose to use. But outside of that, we're not here to sell you anything. This is just to serve you and help you be successful.
We'll show you recommendations, and I think this does bring up a good closing point here for day one. We'll bring up recommendations of some software, some different resources that will make your life easier, but you don't have to have any of them, okay? We're not going to, at the end of this, there's not going to be a $500 course sales pitch, or, I know I've actually got a lot of messages saying, what
1997 for the next 30 seconds.
Yeah, I got a lot of messages like, before I sign up to this, is there any stupid offer at the end? And it's like, no. We'll make recommendations of things that you can, take, not take. It does not matter to me. It's not going to bother me one bit whether you take something or not. But no, there's not going to be some sales pitch at the end like, hey, join our course now for $100. No, it's not going to be like that, because we're hoping to cover as much as possible within this. So I don't know what else we could put in a course that we aren't covering here. But thank you all for tuning in. This is where we're going to wrap it up here. We'll be live same time again tomorrow.
Perfect. Appreciate all you guys. Take it easy.